Hello everybody. Hope you're all doing fantastic today. Let me catch up with chat here. And there we go. It is celebration time. Data has been our beloved mod for 4 wonderful years. Thank you for being here, friend. You are much appreciated. And all those happy emotes, let's go! Hype time! System test. Fish game, okay. Thank you for the system check. Thank you, Jen. You call them barrettes there? Nice. Yeah, got me a few extras. I'll show them off. Because I wore this one on purpose, so we can talk about it. So I got a few. This one's from a set of 5, but I can only use 3 of them. And the one is a little bit wonky. Another one needs a little bit of tightening. But, yeah. Right, so I've got 4 of these. And this is what it looks like. Nice and cute. This one will obviously go right into my eye if I put it there. Always fun, right? Right. You guys can make me half blind. I'm planning on making a channel point redeem, because I'm gonna get me more different ones, cute ones. And if you guys want to change my hair clip that hides my bald spot, then you guys can. So there we go. So out of the 5 of this set, I can, for the time being, only use 2. And the second one of the set that I can use is slightly bigger. Hold on now. The one with the loose part. I am going to tighten it tomorrow, if I can figure out how. But it's quite pretty. And I can just imagine how this one's gonna hang over my face. Look at that. This is the loose side. I just need to tighten that. But yeah, this one's gonna hang quite nicely in the face, right? There we go. So yeah. Yeah, these are very, very pretty. And I took them because they were not too expensive and they were looking very, very nice. And even these somewhat plain ones are also quite pretty. They've got some interesting little details. Yeah. There we go. We've got a fun redeem coming soon. As soon as I get more of these, then I'll have like a piece of cardboard to display them, and then you all can choose. You love things like that? Nice. Well, then that redeem will then be for you then, I guess. Suppose the music is still a bit loud, right? Alright. Should be fine like that. There we go. Nice. Alright, so as for the reason that we're not playing games today, well, aside from today being a Moby Dick day, I want to get rid of Moby Dick. I want to finish that book. Like last week already. But last week I didn't feel too great, so I had to take a few days off. Iman likes ridiculously expensive hats, but I'm not really interested in super posh stuff, even though my far are mostly middle class. Well, I'm also not really interested in like super posh things, but I mean, sometimes it's nice to have something cool like this. Your family? Yeah, I thought that's what you meant by far. And also, like I said, it wasn't too expensive. In fact, it's kind of cheap for what you're getting. Yeah, so I took it. So there we go. Right, okay, so the ad break is finito. That is good. Let me know what the music is like. Is it still too loud? Don't know why. I cannot change the volume. I see, can I change it on the other screen? It's also grayed out here. I can reduce the volume here. That's very strange. Very, very strange indeed. Remember the Bajoran ear dresses from DS9? Yes. And I have been looking to find something similar to that, because most of them just like hooks around the ear, which is really nice. And Jen likes jewelry and fancy watches. Well, you're also looking? I did see a few on Temu that looks alright. But they're very plain. They're not quite as stylish as the DS9 ones. But now that I think about it, I've got this beautiful thing here and nothing on my ears, except for my little hoop rings. Next time I'll come prepared, I suppose. With a little something cute on the ears as well. Okay, well, our music should last us up until or right through break time. I know I started late, so it's just an hour before break time, but I'm gonna keep to it. The whole time I worked at the jewelry store, 1.5 years, I saw only one solid gold watch, and Italian lady brought it in to get it cleaned and a new battery. You have 3 piercings in your left ear, but the top one is always sore. Yeah, get yourself these like titanium hoop rings and wear them permanently, because my ears, both of them, if I do not have something in them, then there's like stuff growing in there, and it's very not fun and very uncomfortable, and it hurts all the time. So yeah, you're gonna have to clean that one out. and invest in these little hoop rings. I don't know about there, but around here, you can get them in pharmacies. Yeah, I have to be careful when I wear studs. Specifically, I must be careful with those like butterfly things at the back that keeps it in place. I don't know what it is about those things, but they always find a way into my ear. I don't know why, but if I have a, I can't say a fear, but a strong dislike towards those little stays. But yeah, you can put anything on there, really. It doesn't have to be studs. Studs, I think, is kind of lazy because it's easy, it's quick, it's neat, doesn't stick out too much. But try some hoops, maybe some tassels. I'm just throwing around some ideas. I have gold sleepers, like yours, and another pair called Huggies. Yeah, I'm not sure if these are called sleepers, but I wear them permanently to keep these holes clean and open. Little bits of them on, little bits on them, and don't pass out with them on. Yeah. And these little hoopies that you get, these titanium ones, they are specifically to sleep with and so on. I nearly lost one of them while I was cleaning. And it took me a whole day to find it, and I found it by chance. I thought it was outside in the grass. Oh my goodness, thank goodness it wasn't. It was in the hallway by the bathroom door. What a relief that was, because these things are so thin and small, they get lost very, very quickly. You had a nose stud too, but your ma said no. Yeah, nose studs I find a little bit strange, not gonna lie. As long as you don't have a tongue stud. I can still live with a nose stud, or rather tolerate, because it's still like sort of outside the body, but then you get the people that get tongue studs. Yeah, I asked them to remove that thing when they speak to me because I cannot understand a word they say. Oh my word. It's not that I have a problem with the way they look, you know, while you're talking to me. It's just I cannot understand what you're saying. Because it's like Lisp times 10,000, you know? Also, it's not good for your tongue. It's a very sensitive organ. It's just my hot take on it, I guess. So, just curious, Data. Did that hole, with that piercing in your nose, did it close up? Your brother was hammered at a gig and he got a nipple bar? He can be a very weird guy. Oh my word, I can just imagine the irritation from that. What is it with people putting stuff in sensitive areas? I agree with you. Your brother is a very weird guy. within? Well, he's probably used to it by now, I guess. How many years is it? It must be several years by now. Ouchie indeed, Jen. Ouchie indeed. I was considering getting a few piercings here. And then I thought, nah. Then I want to have to walk around with more of these hoops in my ears because I don't know how this is going to react. Years? Okay. So yeah, he's probably used to them by now. And I mean, if you really like something like that, you're gonna tell your brain, listen, I like this, get used to it. So there's that. Oh goodness, it's interesting. All these piercings and things. A friend actually got hers done and you screamed when she showed you. What, like ear piercings? Please tell me you're talking about ear piercings, Jen. Oh, good grief. You don't really want to get any more studs in your ear cartilage? Yeah, I'm sure there's like, every person has their limit, right? I found that mine are these. Mainly because it's such a pain to keep them open and clean if I don't have these little hoops. They're hard to wear. What makes them hard to wear? Is it the studs? Is it the placement? Because I mean, you can get some really cool ones. It's really nice, you know, to wear. That doesn't hurt. My favorite earring are those that like hooks through, those hooky ones. With the little rubber stays that you can put on. Oh yeah, I updated my stream elements and bot messages. And, well, apparently it didn't like my custom emote command there. What a shame. Maybe I should put a space? That might work. I don't know. Let me see. Might as well check, right? No, wrong one. Saved. So we'll see later if that works. And if it doesn't, well, that's just sad. I need to blow my nose. You had to remove yours from the top ear? How do you remove a hole? It's just so curious. It's just because of that type of bone. Wow, because I had one before and my left ear almost completely crusted up. Yeah, that is the problem I have with both of these. That is why I wear these hoop earrings. Oh, you remove the piercing. Good one, Jen. Yeah, it's best to be very specific. Because I actually, after getting these holes, these piercings, I did try to actually grow them shut again. Yeah, that didn't work. The bone was just... yeah. I bet it's a different pain when you get the piercing through the cartilage, because I'm sure there's a little bit more force that goes into making that hole. It was so swollen I had to go to hospital. Ouch. That sounds like an allergic reaction to the metal used in that earring, Jen. Yeah, that's definitely an allergic reaction. If your ear was swelling up like that while wearing an earring, you are allergic to whatever that metal was that they used. You have 2 in your left lobe. But it was a phase. And now you've grown out of that phase. Yeah, gold is generally considered safe. I don't know why your message gets picked up on the stream screen and not... Okay. Okay, we are back, it seems. Internet drops a little bit. But yeah, as I said, gold is generally considered safe. But even there are some people that have been known to react to it. It's rare, but it happens. Back? Yeah. Did you catch the part where I told you I think that your swelling ear was a allergic reaction? It generally happens with cheap earrings as well. My mom cannot wear certain types of metals. You did hear it? Ah, okay, good. Yeah, because the only thing that helps for that is keeping that wound clean and using both a topical and an internal antihistamine. You're just strange. We're all strange. But I really was considering, you know, getting one more. But I think I would rather get the clasp ones. But it's difficult to find one that's got a hook and a clasp and another hook. Because my mom, she's terribly allergic to a lot of things. She can't wear most watches. She can't wear anything plastic. We do know that gold is safe. And I think titanium is safe.
Tactical nuke incoming!
broken. No! Welcome in, Raiders! Let's go! How are you guys? Welcome in. Dan's Awakening. Thank you for the raid. Welcome in, Raiders. The time has come to awaken. Thank you for that pinned message. Let us know. You were playing Crypt of the Necro Dancer. Hello. So what is that? Is that a... Obviously it's a game, but what is that? And how was your stream? I can get fluid in the shop too for my piercings. And I got a test bottle for my first one. Fluid? What kind of fluid? Hope you are well done. You're doing good. But ended early because the game was making you mad? As well as your internet being mean. Don't worry. Just before you raided in, my internet was being mean. A fun rhythm game. Oh. How goes it here? It's going pretty chill. Very, very chill. We're talking about jewelry and piercings. Wolfbuck, hello! Welcome in. You were just hacking me? No. The internet is a meanie. Yeah. And how are you, Wolfbuck? Welcome in, welcome in. Right, so it's a fun rhythm game. I can't see how that can get frustrating. It really is some days. Yeah, we've had DDoS attacks on multiple ISPs here in South Africa, and on Monday I read another one got re-DDoSed. Yeah, things are happening around here. And I'm not exactly sure how they're gonna fix things. It's a very weird thing. So the internet's been strange. Very, very strange and unstable at times. Well, it's combat to a rhythm, basically. Like, if you die, you gotta restart that level. Yeah. Ouch. Yeah, that can get frustrating. I'm gonna have to check out your VOD. Red. So, Dance, do you have any piercings? Okay, so you say fluid to keep your piercings clean? I've never heard of that. All the pharmacist gave us was like Dettol. Here. Wash it with that. Yeah, no, it didn't work. You do not, and you don't plan on it either. Cool. Crypt of the Necro Dancer. Yeah. It's not for everybody. It's kind of like tattoos. I will never get myself one. I'm not that much of a fan of pain. Also, I don't like the way it fades after a while. Thanks, but no thanks. That is one thing that I will definitely give a skip. The one and only Creepy Brew. Thank you, good sir. And God bless you too. Thank you for the lurk. Okay, well, I suppose I should get the book, right? This is a funky book. A very little bottle, but it was not a pharmacy though, and the stuff nearly made me scream. Yeesh. Sounds familiar. Can't remember the name of it. But there is like an antiseptic cleaner that burns like nothing else. And I can't remember the name of it, and that sounds like you got that. Let's see what Data gets. A red eye. Nice. And it's 2.6 kilograms. Not bad. I wonder when they're going to like make that little in-game shop available. Because I'm curious, what are they going to have available for all of us? And how are they planning on implementing that? Very curious, very, very curious to see. Alrighty, well, I suppose we should begin then, hey? The drop raid has ended. Okay. Sorry for the rough ride. Here we go. So we have been making good progress. I seriously cannot wait for the end of this story. I wonder... Whoops. Oi. Don't you dare. Don't you dare. A lurk. Alrighty, I shall now read and lurk. Hope you have a fun time reading and a great rest of your stream. Thank you again for the raids or dance. And I hope you have yourself a good rest of your day. And take good care of yourself as you de-stream. Do get yourself something to eat and drink. And remember to do some stretches too, my friend. Take good care of yourself. Will they put in chips some ways down the line for the fish minigame? The coins you make is gonna be the currency. Data. So with every fish that you catch, you make a whole bunch of coins, right? So yeah, they are planning on making a little shop or something like that. But it's been a while in the making, so don't hold your breath. It might still take a while before it's here. But in the meantime, it's still fun to catch them fishes and them junks. I'll buy a huge house then, lol. Yeah, like I said, it would be quite interesting to see what they have available in that little store. And I'll probably have to make it quite expensive to make up for everybody having piles of coins. And of course, have some cheap things for the people that doesn't have So many piles of coins. So much gold. Yeah. Oh yeah. Definitely a lot of gold. Okay. A squeeze of the hand. Okay. Let me just see here. It's mostly in. Cool. So this is one of those that I'll probably read, maybe? Alright, so this is more like a chapter that explains, at least in this part, certain terms. This one is about something completely different. Alright, so definitely gonna skip this one. We'll read this one. Skip Cassock. Read the Triworks. Alrighty. We have our game plan. So let us continue then. Chapter 94. A squeeze of the hand. That whale of Stubbs, so dearly purchased, was duly brought to the Pequod's side, where all those cutting and hoisting operations previously detailed were regularly gone through, even to the bawling or bailing of the Heidelberg tongue, or case. While some were occupied with this latter duty, others were employed in dragging away the larger tubs. So soon as filled with the sperm, and when the proper time arrived, the same sperm was carefully manipulated ere going to the Triworks, of which anon. It had cooled and crystallized to such a degree that when, with several others, I sat down before a large Constantine's bath of it, I found it strangely concreted into lumps, here and there rolling about in the liquid part. It was our business to squeeze these lumps back into fluid. Squeeze. A sweet and unctuous duty. Okay. Yeah. So, sweet and greasy, basically. I have to remember what some of these words mean. No wonder that in old times sperm was such a favorite cosmetic. Such a clearer, such a sweeter, such a softener, such a delicious mollifier. After having my hands in it for only a few minutes, my fingers felt like eels, and began, as it were, to serpentine and spiralize. As I sat there at my ease, cross-legged on the deck, after the bitter exertion at the windlass, under a blue tranquil sky, the ship under indolent sail, and gliding so serenely along, as I bathed my hands among those soft, gentle globules of infiltrated tissues, wove almost within the hour, as they richly broke to my fingers, and discharged all their opulence, like fully ripe grapes their wine. As I snuffed up the uncontaminated aroma, literally and truly, like the smell of spring violets, I declare to you that for the time I lived as in a musky meadow. I forgot all about our horrible oath in that inexpressible sperm. I washed my hands and my heart of it. I almost began to credit the old superstition, that sperm is of rare virtue in allaying the heart of anger. While bathing in that bath, I felt divinely free from all ill will. Or petulance, or malice, or any sort of whatsoever. Squeeze, 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 all the morning long. I squeezed that sperm till I myself almost melted into it. I squeezed that sperm till a strange sort of insanity came over me, and I found myself unwittingly squeezing my co-laborers' hands in it. Well, that will happen. Mistaking their hands for the gentle globules. Such an abounding, affectionate, friendly, loving feeling did this avocation beget, that at last I was continually squeezing their hands and looking up into their eyes sentimentally. Oh my word. As much as to say, oh my dear fellow beings, why should we longer cherish any social acerbities, or know the slightest ill humor or envy? Come, let us squeeze hands all around. Nay, let us all squeeze ourselves into each other. Let us squeeze ourselves universally into the very milk and sperm of kindness. Oh my goodness, that's so funny. Would that I could keep squeezing that sperm forever. For now, since by many prolonged, repeated experiences I have perceived that in all cases man must eventually lower, or at least shift, his conceit of attainable felicity, not placing it anywhere in the intellect or the fancy, but in the wife, the heart, the bed, the table, the saddle, the fireside, the country. Now that I have perceived all this, I am ready to squeeze case eternally. In thoughts of the visions of the night, I saw long rows of angels in paradise, each with his hands in a jar of spermaceti. Wow, it sounds like it's quite the relaxing job, that. Now, while discoursing of sperm, it behooves to speak of other things akin to it. In the business of preparing the sperm whale for the tryworks, first comes white horse, so called, which is obtained from the tapering part of the fish, and also from the thicker portions of his flukes. It is tough, with congealed tendons, a wad of muscle, but still contains some oil. After being severed from the whale, the white horse is first cut into portable oblongs ere going to the mincer. They look much like blocks of Berkshire marble. Plum pudding is the term bestowed upon certain fragmentary parts of the whale's flesh, here and there adhering to the blanket of blubber, and often participating to a considerable degree in its unctuousness. It is a most refreshing, convivial, beautiful object to behold. As its name imports, it's of an exceedingly rich, mottled tint with a bestreaked, snowy, and golden ground, dotted with spots of the deepest crimson and purple. It is plums of rubies in pictures of citron. Spite of reason, it is hard to keep yourself from eating it. Well, I confess that once I stole behind the foremast to try it. It tasted something as I should conceive a royal cutlet from the thigh of Louis le Gros might have tasted. Supposing him to have been killed the first day after the venison season, and that particular venison season contemporary with an unusually fine vintage of the vineyards of Champagne. There is another substance, and a very singular one, which turns up in the course of this business, but which I feel it to be very puzzling adequately to describe. It is called slobgolian, an appellation original with the whalemen, and even so is the nature of the substance. It is an ineffably oozy, stringy affair, most frequently found in the tubs of sperm, after a prolonged squeezing and subsequent decanting. I hold it to be the wondrously thin, ruptured membranes of the case coalescing. Yeah, it does seem to be like a membrane of some sort by the way he describes it. Gurry, so called, is a term properly belonging to right whalemen, but sometimes incidentally used by the sperm fishermen. It designates the dark, glutinous substance, which is scraped off the back of the Greenland or right whale, and much of which covers the decks of those inferior souls who hunt that ignoble leviathan. Nippers. Strictly, this word is not indigenous to the whale's vocabulary, but as applied by whalemen, it becomes so. A whaleman's nipper is a short, firm strip of tendinous stuff cut from the tapering part of Leviathan's tail. It averages an inch in thickness, and for the rest is about the size of the iron part of a hoe. Edgewise moved along the oily deck, it operates like a leathern squeegee. Squealgee. What is a squealgee? I don't know what that is. New word! Yes, squealgee. Squeal. Like squeegee, but it squeals. and by nameless blandishments as of magic, allures along with it all impurities. But to learn all about these recondite matters, your best way is at once to descend into the blubber room and have a long talk with its inmates. This place has previously been mentioned as the receptacle for the blanket pieces, when stripped and hoisted from the whale. When the proper time arrives for cutting up its contents, this apartment is a scene of terror to all tyros, especially by night. On one side, lit by a dull lantern, a space has been left clear for the workmen. They generally go in pairs, a pike and gaff man and a spade man. The whaling pike is similar to a frigate's boarding weapon of the same name. Gaff is something like a boat hook. With his gaff, the gaffman hooks onto a sheet of blubber and strives to hold it from slipping as the ship pitches and lurches about. Meanwhile, the spademan stands on the sheet itself, perpendicularly chopping it into the portable horse pieces. This spade is sharp as hone can make it. The spademan's feet are shoeless. The thing he stands on will sometimes irresistibly slide away from him like a sledge. If he cuts off one of his own toes, or one of his assistants', would you be very astonished? Toes are scarce among veteran blubber room men. I can imagine so, with such a dangerous tool, sharpened as well, and being used on a boat rocking to and fro. Yep, skipping this one. The Try-Works. Alrighty. This is gonna be interesting, so they're gonna be telling us more about it, I suppose. Maybe? Let's see. This is about an American boat. Maybe we're gonna skip this one. Nah, we'll read it. We'll read it. I mean, it's the Try-Works, so it's got to do with our whaling situation. Alright, I am going to snooze that because it wants to start an advert a little bit too quickly. Let us not do that just yet. Let us first go on the break, shall we? Our adverts are way too excited to do their jobs. Alrighty, getting my clock ready. We've got 2 minutes before it is time for the break, so yeah, almost break time. Oops. Start that one over. Bill's night for you. Oh no. Bill's night is a hard night. Gosh darn it. If only they weren't a thing. That would be nice. Oh, I'm not gonna lie, I am feeling a little bit tired now. I'm a bit sleepy. Yeah. Maybe I'll feel better after the break. In a perfect world, yeah. In a perfect world, that is something. Unfortunately, we're not living in a perfect world. So sad. Do I look sleepy? I feel like I look sleepy. Maybe it's nap time. Yeah. And there is the alarm for break time. Right on the hour. Nom nom nom. I am definitely gonna nom. I'll probably just have a sandwich. Alrighty. Let us then go ahead and grab ourselves something to eat, something to drink, stretch out our limbs, get that blood flowing, and I will see you all after the break. Enjoy the break, and let me know what munchies you had and what you had to drink. BRB. Hello everybody. Hope you all had a fantastic break. Hopefully you all got yourselves something to eat and maybe something to drink. Me. Cough. Beep. Hello, Father Herman. Welcome in, welcome in. How is you, good sir? I see you came in just as we went to break. And you've been catching some really cool fishes. And a soda can. And a hermit crab. Nice. How is you, Father Herman? Welcome, welcome. I hope you all got yourself some hydration. I didn't feel like having tea or coffee or cold water, so I made myself some hot water. Still doesn't work. Bah humbug. Alrighty then, let us continue with our story, shall we? Howdy, howdy, Father Herman. How's be you? Welcome in. You came in just as we went to break. Hope you are well. More fishy. Let's see what you get. 2 exclamation marks. A shrimp toy. Nice. Is the music still too... Is the music too loud or is it fine? Maybe it's still a bit too loud. Alright, I think that is good enough. But I could be wrong. I don't know. Alrighty. Chapter 96. The Try-Works. Besides her hoisted boats, an American whaler is outwardly distinguished by her try-works. She presents the curious anomaly of the most solid masonry joining with oak and hemp in constituting the completed ship. It is as if from the open field a brick kiln were transported to her planks. The try-works are planted between the foremast and the mainmast, the most roomy part of the deck. The timbers beneath are of a peculiar strength, fitted to sustain the weight of an almost solid mass of brick and mortar, some 10 feet by 8 square and 5 in height. The foundation does not penetrate the deck, but the masonry is firmly secured to the surface by ponderous knees of iron bracing it on all sides and screwing it down to the timbers. And a top completely covered by a large sloping battened hatchway. Removing this hatch, we expose the great tripods, 2 in number, and each of several barrels' capacity. When not in use, they are kept remarkably clean. Sometimes they are polished with soapstone and sand, till they shine within like silver punch bowls. During the night watches, some cynical old sailors will crawl into them and coil themselves away there for a nap. In a pot? Okay. While employed in polishing them, one man in each pot side by side, many confidential communications are carried on. Over the iron lips. It is a place also for profound mathematical meditation. These things sound very important, aside from working on blubber and spermaceti. It was in the left-hand tripod of the Pequod, with the soapstone diligently circling around me, that I was first indirectly struck by the remarkable fact that in geometry all bodies gliding along this cycloid, my soapstone, for example, will descend from any point in precisely the same time. Removing the fireboard from the front of the try-works, the bare masonry of that side is exposed, penetrated by the 2 iron mouths of the furnaces, directly underneath the pots. These mouths are fitted with heavy doors of iron. The intense heat of the fire is prevented from communicating itself to the deck by means of a shallow reservoir extending under the entire enclosed surface of the works. By a tunnel inserted at the rear, this reservoir is kept replenished with water as fast as it evaporates. There are no external chimneys. They open direct from the rear wall. And here let us go back for a moment. It was about 9 o'clock at night that the Pequod's try-works were first started on this present voyage. it belonged to Stubb to oversee the business. "All ready there? Off hatch then and start her. You, cook, fire the works." This was an easy thing, for the carpenter had been thrusting his shavings into the furnace throughout the passage. Here be it said, in a whaling voyage the first fire in the try-works has to be fed for a time with wood. After that no wood is used, except as a means of quick ignition to the staple fuel. In a word, after being tried out, the crisp, shriveled blubber, now called scraps or fritters, still contains considerable of its unctuous properties. These fritters feed the flames. Like a plethoric burning martyr or a self-consuming misanthrope, once ignited, the whale supplies its own fuel and burns by its own body. Would that be consumed? What? Would that he consumed his own smoke? For his smoke is horrible to inhale, and inhale it you must. And not only that, but you must live in it for the time. It has an unspeakable, wild Hindu odor about it, such as may lurk in the vicinity of funereal pyres. It smells like the left wing of the Day of Judgment. It is an argument for the pit. By midnight the works were in full operation. We were clear from the carcass. Sail had been made, the wind was freshening, the wild ocean darkness was intense. But that darkness was licked up by the fierce flames, which at intervals forked forth from the sooty flues and illuminated every lofty rope in the rigging, as with the famed Greek fire. The burning ship drove on as if remorselessly commissioned to some vengeful deed. So the pitch and sulphur-freighted brigs of the bold Hydroat Canaris, issuing from their midnight harbors with broad sheets of flame for sails, bore down upon the Turkish frigates and folded them in conflagrations. Conflagrations? What the heck is that? Welcome back to your tour data. What the heck is conflagrations? Alrighty, looks like we are back live again because the internet had dropped. And in case you didn't hear me, welcome back, Data. To you as well. The hatch, removed from the top of the works, now afforded a wide hearth in front of them. Standing on this were the Tartarian shapes of the pagan harpooneers. Always the whale ship's stokers. With huge pronged poles they pitched hissing masses of blubber into the scalding pots, or stirring up the fires beneath, till the snaky flames darted, curling out of the doors to catch them by the feet. The smoke rolled away in sullen heaps. To every pitch of the ship there was a pitch of the boiling oil, which seemed all eagerness to leap into their faces. Opposite the mouth of the works, on the further side of the wide wooden hearth, was the windlass. This served for a sea sofa. Here lounged the watch, when not otherwise employed, looking into the red heat of the fire, till their eyes felt scorched in their heads. Their tawny features, now all begrimed with smoke and sweat, their matted beards and the contrasting barbaric brilliancy of their teeth, All these were strangely revealed in the capricious emblazonings of the works. As they narrated to each other their unholy adventures, their tales of terror told in words of mirth, as their uncivilized laughter forked upwards out of them, like the flames from the furnace, as to and fro in their front the harpooneers wildly gesticulated with their huge pronged forks and dippers, as the wind howled on, and the sea leaped, and the ship groaned and dived, and yet steadfastly shot her red hell further and further into the blackness of the sea and the night, and scornfully champed the white bone in her mouth, and viciously spat around her on all sides. Then the rushing Pequod, freighted with savages, and laden with fire, and burning a corpse, and plunging into the blackness of darkness, seemed the material counterpart of her monomaniac commander's soul. That is an interesting description. Thank you for that shout, T-Jen. And welcome back to you. So it seemed to me, as I stood at her helm, and for long hours silently guided the way of this fire ship on the sea, wrapped for that interval in darkness myself, I but the better saw the redness, the madness, the ghastliness of others. The continual sight of the fiend shapes before me, capering half in smoke and half in fire, these at last begat kindred visions in my soul, so soon as I began to yield to that unaccountable drowsiness which ever would come over me at a midnight helm. But that night in particular, a strange, and ever since inexplicable, thing occurred to me. Starting from a brief standing sleep, I was horribly conscious of something fatally wrong. The jawbone tiller smote my side, which leaned against it. In my ears was the low hum of sails, just beginning to shake in the wind. I thought my eyes were open. I was half conscious of putting my fingers to the lids and mechanically stretching them still further apart. But spite all this, I could see no compass before me to steer by, though it seemed but a minute since I had been watching the card, by the steady binnacle lamp illuminating it. Nothing seemed before me but a jet gloom, now and then made ghastly by flashes of redness. Uppermost was the impression that whatever swift, rushing thing I stood on was not so much bound to any haven ahead as rushing from all havens astern. A stark, bewildered feeling as of death came over me. Convulsively my hands grasped the tiller, but with the crazy conceit that the tiller was, somehow in some enchanted way, inverted. My God, what is the matter with me? Thought I. Lo, in my brief sleep, I had turned myself about, and was fronting the ship's stern, with my back to her prow and the compass. In an instant I faced back, just in time to prevent the vessel from flying up into the wind, and very probably capsizing her. How glad and how grateful the relief from this unnatural hallucination of the night, and the fatal contingency of being brought by the lee. Look not too long in the face of the fire, O man. Never dream with thy hand on the helm. turn not thy back to the compass, accept the first hint of the hitching tiller. Believe not the artificial fire, when its redness makes all things look ghastly. Tomorrow, in the natural sun, the skies will be bright. Those who glared like devils in the forking flames, the morn will show in far other, at least gentler, relief. The glorious golden glad sun, the only true lamp, all others but liars. Nevertheless, the sun hides not Virginia's dismal swamp, nor Rome's accursed Campagna, nor wide Sahara, nor all the millions of miles of deserts and of griefs beneath the moon. The sun hides not the ocean, which is the dark side of this earth, and which is 2/3 of this earth. So therefore, that mortal man who hath more of joy than sorrow in him, that mortal man cannot be true, not true or undeveloped. With books the same. The truest of all men was the man of sorrows, and the truest of all books is Solomon's, and Ecclesiastes is the fine hammered steel of woe. All is vanity. All. This wilful world hath not got hold unchristian Solomon's wisdom yet. But he who dodges hospitals and jails, and walks fast crossing graveyards, and would rather talk of operas than hell, calls Cowper, Young, Pascal, Rousseau, poor devils, all of sick men, and throughout a carefree lifetime swears by Rabelais as passing wise, and therefore jolly. Not that man is fitted to sit down on tombstones, and break the green damp mould with unfathomably wondrous Solomon. But even Solomon, he says, the man that wandereth out of the way of the understanding shall remain, i.e., even while living, in the congregation of the dead. Give not thyself up then to fire, lest it invert thee, deaden thee, as for the time it did me. There is a wisdom that is woe, but there is a woe that is madness, and there's a Catskill eagle in some souls that can alike dive down into the blackest gorges and soar out of them again and become invisible in the sunny spaces. And even if he forever flies within the gorge is in the mountains, so that even in his lowest swoop the mountain eagle is still higher than other birds upon the plain, even though they soar. Alright, let me catch up here. Feel the mod powers, Jen. More power! And beer buzz. Alright, looks like we've got more explanations of stuffs. Chapter 97. The Lamp. Had you descended from the Pequod's Try-Works to the Pequod's forecastle, where the off-duty watch were sleeping, for one single moment you would have almost thought you were standing in some illuminated shrine of canonized kings and councillors. There they lay in their triangular oaken vaults, each mariner a chiseled muteness, a score of lamps flashing upon his hooded eyes. In merchantmen, oil for the sailor is more scarce than the milk of queens. To dress in the dark and eat in the dark and stumble in darkness, to his palate, this is his usual lot. But the whaleman, as he seeks the food of light, so he lives in light. He makes his berth an Aladdin's lamp, and lays him down in it, so that in the pitchiest night the ship's black hull still houses an illumination. See with what entire freedom the whaleman takes his handful of lamps, often but old bottles and vials though, to the copper cooler at the Try-Works, and replenishes them there, as mugs of ale at a vat. He burns, too, the purest of oil, in its unmanufactured and therefore unvitiated state, a fluid unknown to solar, lunar, or astral contrivances ashore. It is sweet as early grass butter in April. He goes and hunts for his oil, so as to be sure of the freshness and genuineness, even as the traveler on the prairie hunts up his own supper of game. Chapter 98. Stowing down and clearing up. Already has it been related how the great Leviathan is afar off descried from the masthead, how he is chased over the watery moors and slaughtered in the valleys of the deep, how he is then towed alongside and beheaded, and how, on the principle which entitled the headsman of old to the garments in which the beheaded was killed, his great padded surtout becomes the property of his executioner. How, in due time, he is condemned to the pots, and, like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, his spermaceti, oil, and bone pass unscathed through the fire. But now it remains to conclude the last chapter of this part of the description by rehearsing, singing if I may, the romantic proceedings of decanting off his oil into the casks, and striking them down into the hold, where once again Leviathan returns to his native profundities, sliding along beneath the surface as before, but alas, never more to rise and blow. While still warm, the oil, like hot punch, is received into the 6-barrel casks, and while perhaps the ship is pitching and rolling this way and that in the midnight sea, the enormous casks are slewed around and headed over, end for end, and sometimes perilously scoot across the slippery deck, like so many landslides, till at last manhandled and stayed in their course. And all round the hoops, rap, rap, go as many hammers as can play upon them. For now, ex officio, every sailor is a cooper. At length, when the last pint is casked, and all is cool, then the great hatchways are unsealed. The bowels of the ship are thrown open, and down goes the casks to their final rest in the sea. This done, the hatches are replaced and hermetically closed like a closet walled up. In the sperm fishery, this is perhaps one of the most remarkable incidents in all the business of whaling. One day the planks stream with freshets of blood and oil. On the sacred quarterdeck, enormous masses of the whale's head are profanely piled, great rusty casks lie about, and in a brewery yard the smoke from the try-works has besooted all the bulwarks. The mariners go about suffused with unctuousness. The entire ship seemed great Leviathan himself, while on all hands the din is deafening. But a day or two after, you look about you and prick your ears in the same ship, and were it not for the telltale boats and try-works, you would all but swear you trod some silent merchant vessel, with a most scrupulously neat commander. The unmanufactured sperm oil possesses a singularly cleansing virtue. This is the reason why the decks never look so white as just after that what they call an affair of oil. Besides, from the ashes of the burnt scraps of the whale, a potent lye is readily made, and whenever an adhesiveness from the back of the whale remains clinging to the side, that lye quickly exterminates it. Hands go diligently along the bulwarks, and with buckets of water and rags restore them to their full tidiness. The soot is brushed from the lower rigging. All the numerous implements which have been in use are likewise faithfully cleansed and put away. The great hatch is scrubbed and placed upon the try-works, completely hiding the pots. Every cask is out of sight, all tackles are coiled in unseen nooks, and when by the combined and simultaneous industry of almost the entire ship's company, the whole of this conscientious duty is at last concluded, then the crew themselves proceed to their own ablutions, shift themselves from top to toe, and finally issue to the immaculate deck, fresh and all aglow, as bridegrooms new leaped from out the daintiest Holland. Now, with elated step, they pace the planks in twos and threes, and harmoniously discourse of parlors, sofas, carpets, and fine cambrics. Propose to mat the deck, think of hanging to the top, object not to taking tea by moonlight on the piazza of the forecastle. To enter such masked mariners of oil and bone and blubber were little short of audacity. They know not the thing you distantly allude to. Away and bring us napkins. But mark, aloft there, at the three mastheads, stand three men intent on spying out more whales, which, if caught, infallibly will again soil the old oaken furniture, and drop at least one small grease spot somewhere. Yes, and many is the time, when after the severest uninterrupted labors, which know no night, continuing straight through for 96 hours, when from the boat where they have swelled their wrists with all day rowing on the line, they only step to the deck to carry vast chains and heave the heavy windlass and cut and slash, yea, and in their very sweatings to be smoked and burned anew by the combined fires of the equatorial sun and the equatorial try-works, when in the heel of all this They have finally bestirred themselves to cleanse the ship and make a spotless dairy room of it. Many is the time the poor fellows, just buttoning the necks of their clean frocks, are startled by the cry of, "There she blows!" And away they fly to fight another whale, and go through the whole weary thing again. Oh, my friends, but this is man-killing, yet this is life. For hardly have we mortals by long toilings extracted from this world's vast bulk its small but valuable sperm, and then the weary patience cleansed ourselves from its defilements and learned to live here in clean tabernacles of the soul. Hardly is this done, when "there she blows!" the ghost is spouted up, and away we sail to fight some other world, and go through young life's old routine again. Oh, the metempsychosis. Oh, Pythagoras, that in bright Greece 2,000 years ago did die, so good, so wise, so mild. I sailed with thee along the Peruvian coast last voyage, and foolish as I am, taught thee, a green, simple boy, how to splice a rope. So, how many hours? Was it 72? 96 hours. Good grief, that's a lot of hours. 96 hours. Well, I can believe that. I mean, whales, especially cachalots, are huge animals. And 2 giant pots. Yeah, that is, that's quite the feat, I will say. Six pages. We're at chapter 99, guys. The oldest turtle in the entire world died last year. Yeah, I heard of that. The stories he could have told if he was able to talk. Yeah. You know, sometimes I wish animals could talk, especially ones that live that long. just to hear what life was like back in the many years ago. Yeah, I was quite sad to learn of his passing. Ooh. He was over 200. Goodness. Yeah. That's a long time to live. For any animal. My water's cold. And thankfully not completely room temperature yet. Oof. Been looking up evolution stuff to see if I should reply. But I'm just not going to not reply. Yeah. Flossie is the oldest cat in the world. He was 25 last year. Wow. I've heard of him too, strangely enough. But one thing I did read was that after all these years of fruit fly research and thousands of generations, still did not prove that they can evolve into something else. Yeah, the story of evolution is the biggest lie ever told, and it went mainstream, in my opinion. You are not a fan of where you are. It is 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Alright, let me just quickly convert that. That's 18 degrees. No, wait. That's 37 degrees Celsius. That is quite warm, yes. You have my greatest sympathies. I see you've put it there as well. Thank you. That is quite warm. That is what we get here in summer. It's like normal. They are old school creatures then, yeah. Yeah, and right now it's probably about 18 or 19 degrees inside Celsius. You're used to it being 18 degrees Celsius, so that's like your normal temperature. Yeah, and this is what I'm wearing. A fluffy jersey and a jacket And I'm cold. 18-degree weather. It's a bit on the warm side, says Data. It is 26 degrees here. That is nice and cozy. At least for me. "12 degrees Celsius there in Data's world. Goodness. It's interesting how the temperatures are so different. It's a super awesome day? Yeah. Ireland sucks. As far as I know, they get a lot of rain. Ireland. Yeah, I am really tired. I just wanna crash. I do want to read chapter 99 though. It's gonna... I don't know. It's... quite a lot of pages actually. Ireland nearly always has rain. Sure. Canada kind of does too, not the climate but the leaders, and just we're not really a country even. Just some weird part of the monarchy. It looks nice here, but that's about it. Interesting. Yeah, we are getting some more rain in the Cape area. We're getting some cold fronts coming in. It hasn't been all that cool just yet. But, yeah, our true winter is going to start this month. So it's probably gonna get pretty cool. It's already pretty cool. Monday night I could feel the temperature drop. So yeah. It's gonna be a struggle for me to stay awake. But I'll do my best. Alrighty. Is it raining drugs? You mean snow? Dana? Is it raining snow? Chapter 99, The Doubloon. Here now it has been related how Ahab was wont to pace his quarterdeck, taking regular turns at either limit, the binnacle and mainmast, but in the multiplicity of other things requiring narration, it has not been added how that sometimes in these walks, when most plunged in his mood, he was wont to pause, turn at each spot, and stand there strangely eyeing the particular object before him. When he halted before the binnacle, with his glance fastened on the pointed needle in the compass, that glance shot like a javelin with the pointed intensity of his purpose, and when resuming his walk, He again paused before the mainmast. Then, as the same riveted glance fastened upon the riveted gold coin there, he still wore the same aspect of nailed firmness, only dashed with a certain wild longing, if not hopefulness. Data trying to be funny. You're not gray. Jen is hyper. It could be. It could be the meds. Winter! Yeah. Take a chill pill. I think it's supposed to be a chill pill, Data. Which would be ironic. That would make it ironic. She's hyper on a chill pill. But only Jen will be able to tell us. She knows what she's taking. But one morning, turning to pass the doubloon, he seemed to be newly attracted by the strange figures and inscriptions stamped on it, as though now for the first time beginning to interpret for himself in some monomaniac way whatever significance might lurk in them. And some certain significance lurks in all things, else all things are little worth, and the round world itself but an empty cipher, except to sell by the cartload, as they do hills about Boston, to fill up some morass in the Milky Way. Now this doubloon was of purest virgin gold, raked somewhere out of the heart of gorgeous hills, whence east and west, over golden sands, the headwaters of many a Pactolus flows, and though now nailed amidst all the rustiness of iron bolts and the verdigris of copper spikes, yet untouchable and immaculate to any foulness, it still preserved its quito glow. Nor though placed among a ruthless crew, and every hour passed by ruthless hands, and through the livelong nights shrouded with thick darkness which might cover any pilfering approach, nevertheless every sunrise found the doubloon where the sunset last left it. Your meds are supposed to prevent you from going bananas? It is always wondered about those meds. Actually, about any kind of meds that's given. My biggest worry, I suppose, is mainly the side effects, I guess. Because there's also, like, medications for ADHD. But that also has some very strange side effects. For it was set apart and sanctified to one awe-striking end, and however wanton in their sailor ways, one and all the mariners revered it as the white whale's talisman. Sometimes they talked it over in the weary watch by night, wondering whose it was to be at last, and whether he would ever live to spend it. Now those noble golden coins of South America are as medals of the sun and tropic tokens pieces. Here palms, alpacas, and volcanoes, suns, discs, and stars, ecliptics, horns of plenty, and rich banners waving, are in luxuriant profusion stamped, so that the precious gold seems almost to derive an added preciousness and enhancing glories by passing through those fancy mints so Spanishly poetic. Yeah, they do sound quite horrible. Did you catch your star? No, doesn't look like you did. No. It so chanced that the doubloon of the Pequod was a most wealthy example of these things. On its round border it bore the letters República del Ecuador, Quito. So this bright coin came from a country planted in the middle of the world, and beneath the great equator, and named after it. And it had been cast midway up the Andes in the unwaning climb that knows no autumn. Zoned by those letters you saw the likeness of 3 Andes summits, from one aflame, a tower on another, on third a crowing cock, while arching over all was a segment of the partitioned zodiac, the signs all marked with their usual cabalistics, and the keystone sun entering the equinoctial point at Libra. Before this equatorial coin, Ahab, not unobserved by others, was now pausing. There's something ever egotistical in mountain tops and towers, and all other grand and lofty things. Look here, 3 peaks as proud as Lucifer. The firm tower, that is Ahab. The volcano, that is Ahab. The courageous, the undaunted and victorious fowl, that too is Ahab. All are Ahab, and this round gold is but the image of the rounder globe, which, like a magician's glass, to each and every man in turn but mirrors back his own mysterious self. Great pains, small gains, for those who ask the world to solve them. It cannot solve itself. Methinks now this coined sun wears a ruddy face, but see, aye, he enters the sign of storms, the equinox, and but 6 months before he wheeled out of a former equinox at Aries. From storm to storm, so be it then. Born in throes, 'tis fit that man should live in pains and die in pangs. So be it then. Here's stout stuff for woe to work on. So be it then. No fairy fingers can have passed the gold, but devil's claws have left their mouldings there since yesterday, murmured Starbuck to himself, leaning against the bulwarks. The old man seems to read Belshazzar's awful writing. I have never marked the coin inspectingly. He goes below, let me read. A dark valley between 3 mighty, heaven-abiding peaks that almost seem the Trinity, in some faint earthly symbol. So in this vale of death, God girds around us, and over all our gloom, the sun of righteousness still shines a beacon and a hope. If we bend down our eyes, the dark veil shows her mouldy soul, but if we lift them, the bright sun meets our glance halfway to cheer. Yet, oh, the great sun is no fixture, and if at midnight We would fain snatch some sweet solace from him. We gaze for him in vain. The coin speaks wisely, mildly, truly, but still sadly to me. I will quit it, lest truth shakes me falsely. There's now the old mogul, soliloquized Stubb by the try-works. He's been twigging it, and there goes Starbuck, from the same, and both with faces which I should say might be somewhere within 9 fathoms long. And all from looking at a piece of gold. Which did I have it now, on Negro Hill or in Corlier's Hook? I'd not look at it very long here spending it. Humph! In my poor insignificant opinion, I regard this as queer. I have seen doubloons before now in my voyages. Your doubloons of old Spain, your doubloons of Peru, your doubloons of Chile, your doubloons of Bolivia, your doubloons of Popian, with plenty of gold, moidores, and pistoles, and joeys, and half-joeys, and quarter-joes. What then should there be in this doubloon of the Equator that is so killing wonderful? By Golconda, let me read it once. Halloa! Here's signs and wonders truly. That now is what old Bowditch in his epitome calls the zodiac, and what my almanac below calls ditto. I'll get the almanac, and as I have heard devils can be raised with Dabble's arithmetic, I'll try my hand at raising a meaning out of these queer curvicues here with the Massachusetts calendar. Here's the book. Let's see now. Signs and wonders, and the sun, he's always among 'em. Hem, hem, hem. Here they are. Here they go, all alive. Aries, or the ram, Taurus, or the bull, and Gemini. Here's Gemini himself, or the twins. Well, the sun he wheels among 'em. Aye, here on the coin, he's just crossing the threshold between 2 of 12 sitting rooms, all in a ring. Book, you lie there. The fact is, you books must know your places. You'll do to give us the bare words and facts, but we come in to supply the thoughts. That's my small experience, so far as the Massachusetts calendar and Bowditch navigator and Devil's arithmetic go. Signs and wonders, eh? Pity if there is nothing wonderful in signs and significant in wonders. There's a clue somewhere. Wait a bit. Hist, hark. By Jove, I have it. Look you, doubloon, your zodiac here is the life of man in one round chapter. And now I'll read it off, straight out of the book. Come, almanac. To begin, there's Aries, or the ram. Lecherous dog, he begets us. Then Taurus, or the bull, he bumps us the first thing. Then Gemini, or the twins. That is virtue and vice. We try to reach virtue, then lo, comes Cancer, the crab, and drags us back, and here, going from virtue, Leo is a roaring lion, lies in the path. He gives a few fierce bites and surly dabs with his paw. We escape and hail Virgo, the virgin. That's our first love. We marry and think to be happy for aye. Then pop comes Libra, or the scales. Happiness weighed and found wanting. And while we are very sad about that, Lord, how we suddenly jump as Scorpio, or the scorpion, stings us in the rear. We are curing the wound. when wang comes the arrows all round. Sagittarius, or the archer, as is amusing himself. As we pluck out the shafts, stand aside. Here's the battering ram. Capricornus, or the goat. Full tilt he comes rushing, and headlong we are tossed, when Aquarius, or the water-bearer, pours out his whole deluge and drowns us. And to wind up with Pisces, or the fishes, we sleep. There's a sermon now, writ in high heaven, and the sun goes through it every year, and yet comes out of it all alive and hearty. Jollily he, aloft there, wheels through toil and trouble, and so, allow here, does jolly stub. Oh, jolly is the word for I. Adieu, doubloon. But stop, here comes little King Post. Dodge round the try-works now, and let's hear what he'll have to say. There, he's before it. He'll out with something presently. So, he's beginning. Everybody's got some sort of story attached to this coin. Making up all sorts of things. I see nothing here but a round thing made of gold, and whoever raises a certain whale, this round thing belongs to him. So what's all this staring been about? It is worth $16, that's true. And at 2 cents a cigar, that's 960 cigars. This guy's just worried about cigars. I won't smoke dirty pipes like Stubb, but I like cigars, and here's 960 of them. So here goes Flask aloft to spy 'em out. Shall I call that wise or foolish now? If it be really wise, it has a foolish look to it. Yet, if it be really foolish, then has it a sort of wise-ish look to it. But avast, here comes our old Manx man, the old hearse driver. He must have been, that is, before he took to the sea. He luffs up before the doubloon, Aloha, and goes around on the other side of the mast. Why, there's a horseshoe nailed on that side, and now he's back again. What does that mean? Hark, he's muttering, voice like an old worn-out coffee mill. Prick ears and listen. If the white whale be raised, it must be in a month and a day, when the sun stands in some one of these signs. I've studied signs, and I know their marks. They were taught me 20 years ago, by the old witch in Copenhagen. Now, in what sign will the sun be then? The horseshoe sign? For there it is, right opposite the gold. And what's the horseshoe sign? The lion is the horseshoe sign, the roaring and devouring lion. Ship, old ship, my old head shakes to think of thee. There's another rendering now, but still one text. All sorts of men in one kind of world, you see. Dodge again. Here comes Queequeg, old tattooing. Looks like the signs of the zodiac himself. What says the cannibal? As I live, he's comparing notes. Looking at his thigh bone. Thinks the sun is in the thigh, or in the calf, or in the bowels, I suppose, as the old woman talks surgeon's astronomy in the Black Country. And by Jove, he's found something there in the vicinity of his thigh. I guess it's Sagittarius, or the archer. No, he don't know what to make of the doubloon. He takes it for an old button off some king's trousers. But aside again, here comes that ghost devil, Fedallah. Tail coiled out of sight as usual. Oh yeah, Fedallah, he doesn't like him. Oakum in the toes, of his pumps as usual. What does he say, with that look of his? Only makes a sign, do the sign, and bows himself. There is a sun on the coin, fire worshipper depend upon it. Oh, more and more. This way comes Pip, poor boy. Would he had died, or I. He's half horrible to me. He too has been watching all these interpreters, myself included. And look now, he comes to read. With that unearthly idiot face. Stand away again and hear him, hark. I look, you look, he looks, we look, ye look, they look. Upon my soul, he's been studying Murray's grammar, improving his mind, poor fellow. But what's that he says now? Hist. I look, you look, he looks, we look, ye look, they look. Why, he's getting it by heart. Hist again. I look, you look, he looks, we look, ye look, they look. Well, that's funny. And I, you, and he, and we, ye, and they are all bats. And I'm a crow, especially when I stand atop of this pine tree there. Caw, 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 caw. Ain't I a crow? And where's the scarecrow? Where he stands, 2 bones stuck into a pair of old trousers, and 2 more poked into the sleeves of an old jacket. Wonder if he means me. Complimentary, poor lad. I could go hang myself. Anyway, for the present, I'll quit Pip's vicinity. I can stand the rest, for they have plain wits, but he's too crazy witty for my sanity. So I leave him muttering. Here's the ship's navel, this doubloon here, and they are all one fire to unscrew it. But unscrew your navel, and what's the consequence? Then again, if it stays here, that is ugly too, for when aught's nailed to the mast, it's a sign that things grow desperate. Ha ha, old Ahab, the white whale. He'll nail ye. This is a pine tree. My father in old Tolland country, or county, cut down a pine tree once, and found a silver ring grown over in it. Some old darkie's wedding ring. How did it get there? And so they say in the resurrection, when they come to fish up this old mast, and find a doubloon lodged in it, with bedded oysters for the shaggy bark. Oh, the gold, the precious, precious gold, the green miser'll hoard ye soon. Hish, hish. God goes among the world's blackberrying. Cook, oh cook, and cook us. Jenny, hey, 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 Jenny, and get your hoe cake done. So this is Stubb just carrying on. He does more muttering than the rest of the crew. Going on a tangent about watching people watching a cold coin. That was tiring. Fascinated by others' fascination. Let me see what I'm gonna get. Wolfcat battery critical, is it that obvious? Yeah. I do agree with you. My battery is quite critical. I got oysters. Bleh. I didn't want an oyster. Jeepers, but I am tired. I can see. I'm trying to open my eyes, but I don't want to. Good grief. Alright, well, we've got 15 minutes left. I think I'm going to call it there. We've got 2 new words to look up in the dictionary. So we'll do that. And even though it was a short read, we still made a fair progress. So tomorrow we shall read Chapter 100. Lemonic. We have gone through 99 chapters. Okay, I have skipped many of them. But I mean, still, that's a lot of chapters. And even if I skip more, I would probably still have read 100 chapters at the very least by the end of this book. We are getting closer to the end. Slowly but surely, we shall reach it. It's a pretty book. I do like the feel of it. Some people don't really like super fresh seafood because they don't like the very strong salt flavor. I don't know what kind of fish is salty when you catch it fresh. Because if fresh seafood is supposed to be fresh, they shouldn't be salty. And if they do taste salty, then whoever prepared it did it wrong. Yeah, I've caught my own ocean fish. It's called the shad. It has another name in America. Can't remember it now. But I remember we were on holiday many moons and seasons ago, and we were standing on the rocks. We were catching fish. And we prepared our own fish. We cooked it in the pan. And the flesh from the fish didn't taste salty. Only salty when you add salt to it. The only seafood that I think does naturally taste salty is probably mussels, but even them, no, not really, unless you fail to rinse them properly. Yeah, even squid, you have to give it salt for it to taste salty. You love fresh seafood, but not lobster? They put them in the boiling water alive. It's unfortunate, but that's the way to do it. There is a reason for it. I can't think of the reason now. They scream? Do they? My parents cooked lobster when we were there last. Oh wait, that was just tail of lobster. Yeah, not all people cook them while they're alive. Oh wait, it was full lobsters, but they were already dead. So yeah, I suppose it depends on the establishment and how they decide to cook a lobster. So whatever reason they have for cooking them alive is kind of null and void, I guess. Then they joke, don't you think the cow screamed? Maybe, but I did not hear it, I said. Went to visit a friend on the US coast and the lobster screamed, so I asked for a burger. Did you hear a lobster scream? Or was it a person pretending to be a lobster screaming? Because lobsters don't have vocal cords. They make a scream-like sound. It's illegal to boil lobsters alive because we now know they can feel pain. Yeah, well, most animals do feel pain. The only animal that doesn't seem to feel pain is the sunfish. It seems to be born brain dead. Well, that's possible. Yeah, if I heard a sound like that, I probably would also ask for a burger. That's just not right. I mean, if you want to cook something that can make a squealing noise, put it in head first, so that you don't hear it, or so that your clients, your patrons don't hear it. I mean, that's just common courtesy, you know? Starfish are strange little creatures. Yes, they are. They can grow back limbs as well. They are strange indeed. Conflagration. 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 I has found it. Excuse me. What a strange little word. Let's zoom in. Whee! Conflagration. A large fire that causes a great deal of damage. 15th century, from the Latin stem conflagration, ultimately from conflagrare, to burn up. From flagrare to blaze. Fire. Okay. That is interesting. That is interesting indeed. Wait, I'm using the wrong pen here. And now for the next one. Squealgy! Squeal! I like to believe that we invented forks just in case your food tries to escape. Hey, where are you going? Yeah. I like to think so too, Data. I like to think so too. It's more fun. Almost there, because it's a long way to Q in S. Spontaneous. Squint. Squire. We need squill. Squilla. Eh? Almost. Squill. Squiggle. Okay. So Squill G does not exist. So it must be something else. A scraper mouth Mbuna. Nice. And one heavy book. There we go. Oof. I didn't know you could flip people, Data. You're making me learn new things. That's funny. Unflip. Bot commands, yeah. They're fun. Righty-ho, there we go, just in time for our end of stream alarm. Can't even say alarm properly. Don't know if you guys noticed, but while I was reading, I was kind of falling over my own tongue a little. Was struggling to say certain words. Squilgy. Let's see if we can search that. A squilgy is an alternative, less common spelling of squeegee. I kinda thought so. Eish. Please don't use that word. But yeah, I get what you mean. So squeegee. Is another word for squeegee. Fascinating. Right, let's see. Shall we read? I know it's a different spelling. Slang. Okay. Yeah, it's too close to the other word. Alrighty. Who shall we raid? Do you guys have... Coolness. No, the ad break started. Oh gosh darn it. It was too slow on the... on the snooze button. It's alrighty, Data. Now you know. Do anybody have any suggestions for who we can raid? You know what? I think we're gonna keep it simple. And the way we're gonna keep it simple is we're gonna choose 2 people. Yeah. No, I know. I've been in his channel a few times. I've experienced his chat and his personal vocabulary. So do we want Star Trek Online? Or do we want Hollow Knight Silksong? Is Armor on? Armor of Faith? No. Luxury Yacht is playing Overwatch. Denalid is playing Orcs Must Die 3. Sweeps is doing games and demos. Lady Lark is doing cheese rolling. Sounds interesting, not gonna lie. Mootla Loon is playing Papa's Mokaria Deluxe. I've never heard of that one either. Chronicle of the Stars is playing some other retro game. Hey! Yay, you got your star, let's go! GG's! Yeah, armor is cool. I haven't really looked. But I haven't seen her alive. And then there's Fortnite, Crash Out Crew, Minecraft, Overwatch, Diablo. Date everything. Did I mention a repo? Oh, the bot was confused. Yeah. Dark Mom might be ending stream soon though. She's been on for over 2 hours. Whereas Sente has only been on for 40 minutes. Let me see. Luxury Yacht. He's been on for a while. Lady Lark. What the heck is cheese rolling? Two hours isn't bad. Yeah. This is such a weird game that Lady Lark is playing. You know what? We're gonna keep things simple. We're gonna raid the Dark Mom Consortium. Even if it's just for 5 minutes. The others are hurting my brain. Right, so I think we've got ourselves a winner. Alright, so Squeal-G the Squeegee. Using the wrong pen again. Alrighty then, let us go and give some love to Madame Mom from the dark side of the consortium. There is a shouty for her. Go check her out in case you get left behind. She's very cool, and she likes space stuff, and today she's on Risa because it's the summer event, which started a few days ago. I haven't played the game myself yet, but maybe I should. I don't know. Anyway, there is the raid message. Give that a sneaky little copy. Yeah. I know it's normal there. You've used it before, but I didn't really think much of it, but now, when I saw it again, after so long, I just realized how close it is to the other word. So, yeah. But yeah, now you know. So no worries. Paste. There we go. We has raid command. Too dodgy. Yes. That's the word. Too dodgy. Indeeds, indeeds. Alrighty, folks. Phew. I'm gonna take a headache tablet because this book's got me done for. Whew. Thank you all for being here and listening to me struggle to read and say words. I appreciate you all spending your time with me. You guys are awesome. Take care of yourselves, everybody. And thank you, Data, for being my mod for 4 years. My goodness. It's been quite the ride. Quite an interesting adventure. I appreciate you for being here. We salute the great Data Meg 5000 for his good and hard, diligent work. Bye-bye. Take care of yourself, Data. See you tomorrow, maybe. If not, that's also good. You must take care of yourself. And I will see you all tomorrow for some more Moby Dick. Let's go. God bless you all. Have a great rest of your day, evening, afternoon, morning, whichever time it may be for you. May it be restful. Bye bye.